Good morning, everybody. As you can see, I'm wearing my very rare and beautiful OTO black tie. I thought I'd dress up today because it's a very serious subject. Uh, of course, you know how I take serious subjects. But anyway, there's two letters today in my reading from Ask Baba Lon, Answers to Questions of Life and Magic, available everywhere. Uh, you really should have one of these. If for no other reason, my wife, Constance, made this beautiful cover painting. See, I'm trying to sell this sucker. This beautiful cover painting, and you can see a stylized turban of Baba Lan on there too. How much would you pay for a book like? Don't answer. There's more. Anyway, there are two questions about this subject of Goetic evocation or Goetia or demons and things like that. And it can be a very serious subject. It's a serious magical technique, and it's much misunderstood. So here's two questions that at least give my point of view for whenever it was that I was answering these questions. So, first of all, first letter, how do I redeem a demon? Dear Baba Lon, please excuse me if this letter is written somewhat awkwardly. English is not my first language. I'm currently studying with much interest the book that you and Dr. Hyatt wrote, Aleister Crowley's Illustrated Goetia. And I have several very fundamental questions that I hope you'll find the time to answer. You refer repeatedly to the sigil or seal of the spirit being charged. What exactly charges this object? Is it the ceremony? How can I be sure the seal has been charged? Is the charge permanent? Does it ever wear off? What do I do if I want to change the instructions I give to the spirit? What happens if I lose or misplace a charged seal? Can I store the spirit seal in a brass bottle? If not, what exactly is the brass bottle for? Most importantly, how do I share my good fortune and spiritual success with the spirit? Isn't that a bit like making a deal with the spirit, which is something I believe you advise strongly against? Name withheld. Aren't those good questions? As a matter of fact, they're so indicative of many other questions similar to that I decided to print this particular question and my particular answer. Dear Name Withheld, you ask very good questions, and I'll do my best to answer them. Let me begin by assuring you that the best source of answers to these questions, and indeed any questions of a magical or spiritual nature, lies within yourself. Magic is an art, and magicians are artists. Picasso and Monet could agree or disagree about the advantages of oil paints versus watercolors, or the virtues of different canvases, but one should not expect them to even attempt to understand each other's perception of truth. I will answer the questions you raise, but you must remember the answers are true only to the degree that they temporarily represent my understanding of the art of Goetic evocation. It is entirely up to you as a magician artist to use, amend, or discard any of this information as your magical career evolves. Yes, the ceremony of evocation activates or charges the seal which has been placed in the triangle. The energy which executes this activation is the magician's concentrated will, which has been sharpened and focused by all the physical and mental preparations of the evocation. The spirit appears on the seal, and that vision serves to charge the seal by indelibly imprinting on the magician's subconscious mind that image. Years from now, you may forget that you ever performed that particular evocation, but your subconscious mind will not forget. And from one point of view, the subconscious is the natural abode of the spirits of the Goetia. So yes, in one respect, the ceremony activates the seal permanently. To deactivate it, you will have to update your subconscious mind with the experience of another evocation and another vision. This needs to be done ceremonially with the same care and preparation you expended on the original evocation. Perhaps you're beginning to see that evocation is a formal, conscious dialogue and relationship between your conscious and subconscious mind. The reason you do not wish to lose or forget where you put an activated seal is because you do not wish to lose the lines of communication you so painstakingly established between the two worlds. The Goetic spirit, once evoked, is an awakened giant ready to serve you. You do not want to forget there is an awakened giant in the cellar. The reasons you take great care to store the seal in a special container is so you will consciously reinforce the relationship. Every time your eyes fall upon the container, you are reminded of the evocation, reminded of the spirit, and how that little devil is pledged to your service and well-being. This serves to recharge both you and the spirit. Every time you see or think about the special box containing the spirit seal, you should feel the same warmth of satisfaction a dog's master feels when he's able to feed his faithful pet a special treat. Sealing up the spirit seal in a brass bottle is a form of punishment and should only be resorted to after numerous attempts to form an amicable relationship, or attempts to form an amicable relationship have failed. It is not the same as destroying the spirit seal, which is the last option, after which I advise you never to attempt to evoke that particular spirit again. But sealing it in, or putting it in a brass bottle, but is intended to demonstrate to the spirit that if it is not willing to help you, that you are quite willing to see that it doesn't hurt you while you decide its fate. Pure and simple. It's an intimidation device. Before resorting to sealing it in the brass bottle, however, you can apply a bit of torture by putting its seal in a metal box in the triangle. Also in the triangle should be a bowl of flaming liquid or hot coals. The metal box should have a chain attached to it so that at the proper moment you can, from the safety of the circle, pick up the chain of the box with the point of your sword and suspend it over the fire. How do you share your good fortune and spiritual success with the Spirit? That's an extremely good question, and one that can only be answered by you. I'm reminded of the old American cowboy movies where the hero rescues the girl and captures the bank robbers, but only after he's been pulled out of a deadly pool of quicksand by his faithful horse. In the really old movies, the cowboy doesn't kiss the girl at the end of the film, he kisses the horse. If you can endure yet another one of my old movie analogies, let's look at it this way. You are the captain of a pirate ship, and the Spirit is the unruly sailor you've trained or whipped into shape to be a worthy crew member. Once it is tamed, trained, and working on your team, you sail together to exotic ports, and both become enriched by the adventures and enterprises you lead. Ideally, you continue to do great things and continue to grow in knowledge and in wisdom, and if you are truly wise, you keep refining the character, skills, and duties of your crew, and the importance and the holiness of your enterprises. Finally, when you are truly successful and save the empire, you and your entire crew are presented to the Queen and get knighted. I'm only being half silly here. Every case is different and unique. And as you gain enlightenment, you keep applying that enlightenment to the character and duties of the Spirit you have taken responsibility for. Recognizing a job well done is a private and entirely internalized affair. You give credit where credit is due. Oribos, the spirit I wrote about in my Life of the Spirits, Oribos and I have come a long way together. Indeed, we are part of each other. Just as I feel I've evolved a little bit in the last 3 decades, so too has my spirit friend. It's a holy relationship. In my particular magical spiritual discipline, I seek union with a divine counterpart which I call the Holy Guardian Angel. I, by no stretch of the imagination, have yet to achieve what I believe to be complete and perfect communion with this being. But I've been vouchsafed glimpses and moments of ecstatic wonder when I realize, however briefly, that I'm part of an unimaginable greater life. In the nomenclature of Western Hermeticism, these moments are my holy guardian angel attempting to raise me up. To a Goetic spirit, the magician is the holy guardian angel. And just as there are people in the world who are so base and ignorant that they will end this incarnation without ever having a spiritual thought, no matter how hard their holy guardian angels may try to contact them, so too, in your magical universe, it's likely there are Goetic spirits who may not be ready to be calmed down enough to have a relationship with you. You might never be able to work effectively with these particular spirits. For those with whom you can form a working relationship, only you will know how to share your good fortune and spiritual success. I wish you the best of luck with your magical career. Sincerely, Baba Lon. Now, here's another very, very good letter, but it's completely different from where the magician is coming from. So it's called "Where the Hell Did I Go Wrong?" And I'll finish with this letter today. Remember, this is the letter to me first, this first one. Dear Baba Lon, I'm having a little problem, and I hope you can give me some advice how to correct the situation. My problem has to do with the Goetia and summoning the spirit Andromalius. In your book, Tarot of Ceremonial Magic, it says, quote, "He is a great earl, great and mighty, appearing in the form of a man holding a great serpent in his hand. His office is to bring back both the thief and the goods which be stolen, and to discover all wickedness and underhand dealing, and to punish all thieves and other wicked people, and also to discover treasures that be hid." All the Goetic description sounds like pirate talk. "And to discover where treasures be hid." Arr. The situation is this. I've been trying to get in contact with Andromalius because it says he returns lost items to the original owners, among many other things. In my situation, a great deal of money has been taken from me, and I want back what I had initially invested. I already tried contacting Andromalius 3 times. The first time I've gotten in touch with some spirit that came in the form of a white dog, a big snake, and a white rabbit. He didn't leave when I gave him license to depart until I yelled at him, using the names of God. And he left, but first agreed to show me a sign to let me know he was working for me. This was out of the woods. This was out in the woods, by the way. The second time was in my room, where I had created a circle and triangle. I received what I thought to be him promising a sign, but to no avail. The third time was 2 nights ago. I was in the same taped circle and did all my conjurations mentally. And after focusing a while on his sigil, a black-eyed, horned, goat-footed imp appeared in the triangle, saying it was Andromalius. He told me that he hopes that I will make an offering to him, and that it better be something more than McDonald's. He asked me to help destroy a common enemy. When I asked who, he gave out a name which I do not remember, so I declined to help. Then he asked me to speak of my desire, but before I could give him my original charge, he tried to leave the triangle and come into my circle. I commanded him back into the triangle. I gave him the charge as to what I want. He agreed. But when I gave him the license to depart, he walked over to my printer and said he could fix it as a sign that he was working for me. Earlier that day, my printer had jammed up and I couldn't fix it. So, thinking that it was a good idea, I agreed and then commanded him back into the triangle, where he complained to me that the triangle was too small for him. He whined like a little kid complaining about his parents' command. I told him next time I would make the triangle bigger, and he went back in. Then I gave him a second charge. I had two charges for him, but I thought it'd be best to charge him once to test him out. But since he volunteered to fix my printer, I thought it would be best to get the two charges out of the way. After stating what I wanted done and telling him what I would give him as an offering in return, a beautiful picture with his sigil on it, and engraving his sigil in precious metal with some of the money that was returned to me in full. I warned him that if he didn't do what I asked, I was going to summon him up again and burn his sigil to completely banish him, and asked if he understood, and he said, "Yes, master," sneering in a cunning sort of way. "Yes, master." I gave him the license to depart, and he said that he was too tired to do anything now, but tomorrow he would show me a sign, and he walked out of the building's wall. Now, when I went to bed, the image of this ugly imp came into my head and said he was not a rag doll to be played with, and he will hold up his end, but I should make sure I hold up mine. I told him that I wasn't playing with him, nor would I summon him to deceive him, and that I was hopeful to see his sign to let me know that he will do what I ask. Needless to say, the next day, nothing happened. But I was cool about it because I had summoned him after 12 a.m., and when he said the next day, he could have meant Sunday, which is today. Well, I fixed the damn printer on my own. Hooray. And still no sign of him at all. I'm willing to try to summon him again, but this time I want to get the real Andromalius. Now I'm asking, in your opinion, is Andromalius the one that I really need to return something to me, or should I try another? This time, however, I'm going to give only one charge, and the only one that is most important to me. Where the hell did I go wrong? I've been reading your book over and over again, but I feel that I did not miss anything. So what can I do to the best of my ability to make sure this time around I get Andromalius? I appreciate your time in reading this, and I pray actually, that you can help me out ASAP. Until then, I'm holding off my fourth and possibly final evocation. Respectfully yours, name withheld. Now, I really respect and appreciate the fact that name withheld went to all of the trouble to write this very detailed and to me very revealing letter to me. And I could even see within the process that he went through, he was already learning himself several very important lessons in Goetic evocation. So please don't think that I'm in any way denigrating or making fun or ridiculing his letter, his attitude, or even his understanding. But this is my letter back. Dear name withheld, without going into unnecessary detail with you concerning your workings, I just I'll just share one little tidbit that may enable you to answer your own questions on this matter. Please don't think me rude if I'm late or completely remiss in answering follow-up questions. It looks like at the moment you're missing the big picture on what kind of magic you're trying to work. First of all, you'll save yourself a lot of confusion and frustration if you start out by remembering that in Goetia, you need to treat the spirit as if it were the source of your problem, because it is. You don't make deals with the source of your problem. One of you, either you or the demon, must become a groveling slave, and it better not be you. The magician is the boss, always. The magician makes the demands, not the demon. Can't you see? For your entire life, up until the moment of the evocation, the spirit has been screwing with you, bargaining with you, making you weak, making you confused, making you the type of person these problems torment. And it will continue to screw with you until you stop making deals with the little bastard. That evocation was your first opportunity to say, it's time for you to shut up for a change and do what I say. My God, man, don't promise it anything. Hamburgers, pizza, blood, bats, cats, bugs, semen, spit, boogers, flowers, seeds, dirt, rocks, poop, nothing. It doesn't make demands on you or suggestions to you. You make demands on it. If you succumb to any of the demands of a spirit, you're not performing Goetia, you're performing anti-Goetia, and the spirit will end up writing in its magical diary how successfully it evoked you. Of course it'll try to make demands and dictate conditions. Can't you see? It's been doing that your whole life. Don't listen to it anymore. Learn to say no. Know what you want and stick to it. If it asks anything, get pissed. Tell it, fuck you. I'm the one making demands here. Shut up and listen. Make it afraid of you. That's the key. You don't need it if it continues to work against you. Let it know if it doesn't play ball, you will blast it from existence and mean it. Most importantly, before even beginning an operation like this, think about what your problem really is. Do you want a specific little thing to happen in a specific little way? Or do you want your life to get better? If the answer is the latter, think about asking the spirit to do something about that. Don't try to micromanage how the spirit should go about fulfilling the charge. Tell it to work without harming you, your loved ones, or the fragile ecosystem. But other than that, let it work in its own way. One more thing. And this might be the most important part of our conversation. Andromalius brings back things that are stolen. You characterize your loss as being an investment. Investments suggest an element of risk. which the investor is prepared to take for the chance of profit. The investment game is, the higher the chance of making a profit, the higher the risk. If you, even in the back of your mind, look at this as an investment loss, Andromalius is not your guy. Unless the situation is one in which something has been taken from you unexpectedly and against your will with no hope of return or reward, then I suggest in the strongest terms that you reconsider enlisting the aid of Andromalius or any other Goetic spirit for this particular matter. Anyway, be fearless. Use your common sense and your sense of humor. Lose that and you're lost. Good luck. Babylon. And that's where we'll end it today. I know it was a little long, but I wanted to get both those letters in. Tomorrow we'll start with a question. I want to use demon sigils at the office. I hope you'll be with me tomorrow morning. And until then, continue to be good to yourself and be good to each other. Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. Love is the law. Love under will. Bye-bye.